Minifigure Speedway is a pair of new for 2024 roller coasters at Legoland Windsor. This is a dueling shuttle coaster situated on a hill. This ride has a lot of similarities to the far more common Vekoma family boomerangs. But is this ride better? Find out in this review. Vekoma debuted their family boomerang model in 2011. The prototype was also installed in the United Kingdom at the nearby Drayton Manor, where today is known as Accelerator. This model has become extremely popular with parks, and Vekoma has been building several each year. The shuttle nature not only makes the experience more exciting on ride with the backwards bit, but it saves track and cuts down construction costs. Given their popularity, other manufacturers have started offering similar coasters. Gerstlauer created their own family shuttle coaster shortly after Vekoma did. Then Zier, who has had a great relationship with the Legoland chain over the years, created their own in 2024 for Legoland Windsor. Named Minifigure Speedway, this coaster was placed in the newly rebranded Bricktopia area, and it is a cool looking ride. You have two tracks racing side by side, creating some exciting flybys. The coaster also roars through a billboard at one point, and passes the world's tallest minifigure statue. I also like how the two tracks nicely contrast. One is red, and one is blue. The coasters also look larger than they really are from several vantage points because of the terrain use. The hill it is placed on overlooks the adjacent Duplo Valley area. So while the coaster is just 35 feet, or 11 meters tall above ground level, it has a total elevation change of roughly 59 feet, or 18 meters. This coaster smartly has a racing theme. The Q Line station have all sorts of banners to reinforce this. Then there are two teams battling out for supremacy. The blue track is the Legends team. The red track is the All-Stars team. The Q Line winds its way up the hill. At the end, you are assigned a team, but if you ask nicely, the park will allow you to select or wait for a specific side. While the two tracks are 80% similar, the final approach to the second lift hill is different on each side. I slightly prefer what the All-Star side does. The grouper admits just enough people to fill the next train. I wish they'd batch the next set of guests sooner, as there sometimes was a delay between the end of the prior ride cycle and the next riders arriving, which increased load times. I had heard this coaster also had a pre-show, but the video was not in use during my visit. Not sure if that was just a temporary thing or a lasting change. Seating is on a first-come basis when you reach the station. Most people will understandably choose the front row first, so if you want that row, you probably need to be the first one admitted. I preferred the back anyway, which was always available on my rides. Most people filled the train front to back, even though that was not mandatory. Each side is one train. The train seats a max of 20 riders, as there are 10 rows of 2. Having two tracks gave this a better capacity than anticipated, but it is still not a super high throughput ride. Queue times for this coaster understandably have been long. It has topped out at the 45 to 60 minute mark most days. It is a brand new attraction, but if you time it right, you can avoid the worst queues. Since this is one of the closest rides to the front of the park, many people make this their first stop. Those longest queues usually occur in the first 1 or 2 hours. So unless you're at the front of the rope drop pack, it is prudent to return to this ride in the afternoon. The wait is usually no more than 15 to 30 minutes most days. Then if needed, it is included in the park's reserve and ride skip the line system. This is a paid service. It is limited to just one time only in the lower tiers, but I suspect that restriction will be lifted in future seasons. If you buy the highest ultimate tier, you can skip the queue for Minifigure Speedway as much as you'd like each day. Then there are also single shots available for 10 to 12 pounds per person per ride. With reserve and ride, you skip almost the entire queue and usually board the next train. Once seated, each rider is restrained by an L-shaped lap bar. These are fine, and I have no complaints about them. The track gauge is on the narrower side though, so the trains can be quite a bit cramped if you have two adults sitting in the same row. Once checked, a countdown begins and you are pulled backwards up the lift hill. You then stop briefly. If you're in the rear rows especially, you get a great view overlooking the valley. Then you have some racing lights creating a countdown at the bottom. Once you get the green light, you are released. The drop is not super steep, but you do get a tummy tickling falling sensation if you're in the rear rows. You then whiz through the station. When you exit, you have a twisting drop further down the hill. Blue turns left and red turns right. If you are in the rear rows, you'll get a little floater airtime here as you're pulled over it. I believe this is also where you hit the ride's max speed of 35 miles per hour or 56 kilometers per hour. You then twist upwards. Both sides offer shockingly good positive Gs here. Red twists upwards through a billboard, creating a fun near miss as well. Both tracks have an aerial flyby past each other. Both sides have another twisted drop. Blue twists right through the billboard. You get decent Gs at the bottom. Red instead twists left. This side drops further down the hill and builds up more speed, so you get even better Gs here. Red then has an upwards S-bend. This doesn't offer much force. This ends with a small dip offering no airtime, taking you on to lift 2. Blue also has an S-bend, but that one is flatter, so the train has more speed and offers some okay positive Gs. But as a trade-off, you do not get the extra hump into the lift hill though. Both rides then ascend the second lift hill in full with a series of booster tires. You face a nearby house at the top. After a brief pause, you are released backwards. If you're in the natural front, you get a bit of a falling sensation by the end of the drop. Red then flies over that hump, generating a weak pop of airtime for all. You then rebuild speed on the downwards S-bend. This leads to a forceful turn, and you climb upwards to that flyby. Blue, meanwhile, has the low S-bends that offer nice force. You really get whipped going backwards. Then you have a decently forceful climb upwards to the flyby. As before, this is an exciting visual. You then drop back down once again, getting solid Gs on the low turn. Then you have a twisted climb back into the station on both sides. You slowly return to the station as the winner is announced. This ends the experience. In terms of smoothness, the tracking is immaculate. The ride is glass smooth. In terms of pacing, this ride is quite good for a family coaster. The one thing I wish that was better on ride was the racing element. Outside the station fly-through and that elevated flyby, you don't really see the other track for much of the experience. I wish the tracks spent more time side by side to capitalize on this element. That's what the best racing coasters do. So, what would I rate Minifigure Speedway? I would give this coaster a 7 out of 10. This is a good family coaster. The main drops are fun, and the turns have surprisingly strong positive Gs for a ride of this scale. Then the racing element is a nice touch, even if it's not executed to the fullest potential due to the track placement. I think this is superior to the Vekoma family boomerangs that I have ridden. Even looking past the racing element, Minifigure Speedway offered better forces. I also like how this coaster has the booster tires in the second lift hill to take you all the way to the top. This rebuilds your potential energy in full for the second half. Compare that to the Vekoma versions that simply have a gravity-driven spike, so you naturally take the second half with less speed. That also has the impact of dialing back the forces even further. I am interested to see if Sears continues to make more coasters like this, and if a ride like this pops up at any other Legolands. We know this chain likes to copy and paste their successful rides at their other parks, and by all accounts, this seems to be a crowd pleaser with guests. So those are my thoughts on Minifigure Speedway at Legoland Windsor. What are your thoughts on this ride? Do you like it over the Vekoma family boomerangs as well? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.